Dr. Elena Ivanovna, Associate Professor Dr. Larissa Mikhailovna, Associate Professor Dr. Elena Sergeyevna, and all teaching and non-teaching staff, doctors and students, a very warm welcome and good afternoon to one and all present here. I am Prem Kumar Princy of 5th course Medical Faculty, here to present you my work on the topic dengue fever and hemorrhagic dengue fever, its clinicals and differential diagnosis with treatment. Dengue fever is a pandemic-prone, fast-spreading, mosquito-borne viral disease in the world today. It is an arthropod-borne viral illness caused by the insect mosquito, and which is widely distributed and breeds in the tropical and subtropical areas of the world. The transmission of this disease is by an insect, a mosquito from the genus Aedes. It is called Aedes aegypti, which acts as a carrier and also the cause of this dengue illness. This Aedes aegypti mosquito, how it transmits this disease is, it first goes and bites an infected person who already has a dengue fever. From that person, it sucks the blood for that to breed and hatch its eggs. And after that, it carries that virus in its saliva, in its salivary gland, where it incubates, and from that it transmits to a healthy person, thus affecting a healthy person with dengue fever. And once a healthy person is affected by this dengue fever, the human acts as the main carrier and multiplier of this virus. Now we are seeing this Aedes mosquito, Aedes aegypti mosquito. It is a female mosquito which bites during the day, and it lays its eggs and hatches it in the clean and stagnant water. This is the epidemiology of this disease. According to WHO, these mosquitoes are widely spread and growing more in the subtropical and tropical regions in millions, spreading the disease dengue. According to the report of 2015, 50 to 100 million people are affected annually by this disease. Around 50,000 dengue cases with complicated hemorrhagic manifestations are seen, and 20,000 deaths are seen by this disease every year. This is a report which I got for 2004 and 2010 statistics. According to WHO, the death rate of this disease was around 44 lakh in Brazil alone by the past 10 years before. I think by now it would have increased more because of the reason which I would tell you later in the coming slides. Now coming to the virology, the virus which causes this disease. This dengue fever virus, DENV, is an RNA virus, a single-stranded RNA genome with a positive polarity from the family Flaviviridae and genus Flavivirus. It has a single-stranded RNA genome with positive polarity with a lipid membrane outer layer and with membrane proteins and glycoproteins attached to the lipid layer. Now after seeing the virus which causes the disease, how this virus enters into the human body and affects and causes this diseases. Once this virus carrying mosquito bites human being, a healthy person, the virus enters and first attacks the reticuloendothelial system where you can see the macrophages and monocytes. So as I said, this RNA is a single-stranded RNA with a positive polarity with a lipid bilayer on the top and with proteins, the membrane proteins and the matrix proteins on the top of the lipid membrane. It goes and attaches itself to the macrophages and monocytes, and it starts to activate itself to form a pore inside the structure of the cell wall and enters into the cytoplasm. So where the monocytes they lose the ability to neutralize the virus, and thus it easily enters into the cytoplasm, and it affects the immunity and it affects the blood system, allowing the viral entry into the macrophage, and the viral replication takes place simultaneously. Now after the virus enters into the human body, the symptoms starts to appear. The incubation period of this disease is around 4 to 7 days, while the symptoms of intoxication starts to appear. In dengue, we can see symptoms like high fever with a temperature of more than 40 degrees Celsius, and retroorbital headache, tiredness, body pain, vomiting, and an important point to note in dengue fever is the typical dengue rash. This dengue rash appears after 2 to 5 days after the onset of the fever. This is an important point to note in the symptoms when a patient is affected by dengue. And to see about the dengue fever, there are 4 serotypes in the dengue disease. This is DEN 1, 2, 3 and 4, which causes reinfection of this disease. So once when a patient is affected by one serotype of a disease, he can get autoimmune by that serotype so that he does not get affected by the same serotype again. But again he can get reinfected with any of the 3 serotypes. So that when that happens, secondary infection, that manifests itself as a hemorrhagic stage where we can see skin hemorrhages, petechiae, purpura. An important point is the bleeding. Because of vascular permeability effect, we can see increased gastrointestinal bleeding, blood in vomit and stool also. So, looking at all these warning signals of this disease, this dengue fever is diagnosed by hematological diagnosis, an important criteria to confirm this disease, where you can see a low platelet count, increased hematocrit level, serum proteins are increased, and coagulation profile you can see a low prothrombin time, the prothrombin time is increased, blood clotting time is increased, and an important test to confirm this disease are the mosquito antigen detection test, NS1 DVAG ELISA, DVAG and the ELISA test. And an important molecular method is the RT-PCR method, where you can easily find the antibodies and confirm this disease by this diagnosis. And other clinical symptoms, like already I said, the fever, the rash, that also confirms the disease. An important point of this presentation is always dengue fever is asymptomatic at the initial stage of disease, so it is always misdiagnosed with many other viral diseases, like importantly Zika fever, where you can see on this slide, you can see all the common clinical features, the symptoms, even the vector which causes the disease is the same for the disease dengue and Zika. So it's all same for both the diseases. So what makes it to misdiagnosis it's the hemorrhagic symptom which is present only in the dengue fever and it's absent in the Zika fever. Only in dengue fever we can see symptoms like bleeding, which you can never see in the Zika fever. So from that you can always rule out Zika fever while you see these symptoms. An important disease is malaria, which you can differentiate with dengue because it also has the same clinical features: the fever, headache, rash, fever, headache, myalgia, abdominal pain, and all other laboratory diagnoses. They correlate with each other, like more or less the same. So how to diagnose, differentiate with malaria and dengue is 3 points are the myalgia, where you can see increased muscle and joint pains in dengue. That is why it is called as break bone fever, where you can feel as if your bones are getting broken. You can feel that intense pain, and the typical dengue maculopapular rash, which you can see in dengue, which is absent in malaria, and the leukopenia, an important point to note in your laboratory diagnosis while you diagnose both malaria and dengue. After seeing the diagnosis and confirming it that your disease is dengue, what is the treatment which you can give to the patient is in dengue fever, the patient is always given the detoxification therapy as the first line treatment, where paracetamol is given and a large amount of intravenous fluids and oral fluids is given to the patient to keep him or her hydrated. An important point to see in treatment is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs and aspirins are totally contraindicated in this disease, because even though the patient has increased body pain, NSAIDs are not given because it affects the vascular permeability and it may lead to bleeding and may complicate to DIC syndrome. After the treatment, we should always monitor the blood pressure, the urine output, hematocrit level. Continuous monitoring of this helps us to check for the further complications of this disease. Every viral illness and bacterial illness will have a typical and atypical prophylaxis. So while it comes for this dengue viral disease, we can never have a typical prophylaxis because a vaccination for this disease has not been found till now. We don't have a vaccination for this disease. So we can go for the atypical prophylaxis. We can prevent ourselves from this disease by keeping the surrounding clean, by not letting stagnant water in open areas like a garden or in your house. You should not leave containers with water open, because as I said in the previous slides, mosquitoes can easily breed on open clean water and also stagnant water. So by this, these methods you should always remember to prevent yourselves from dengue disease. To conclude, I think that in Ukraine, I don't think there would have not been much dengue cases, or you have not seen, because this is not a subtropical or tropical region. Why I want to say about this disease is important factors like the increased population, the transport of people from rural areas to urban areas, and an important factor is the global warming, which makes the climate change. So by the near future, you can anytime have a tropical type of climate in Ukraine, where the mosquitoes can transmit here, they can breed in this type of climate, and you can see a typical dengue case or a symptom of dengue, where you should always remember all these symptoms and the preliminary diagnosis which you can do to save the patient for further complications. To wrap up my presentation, this is the overall view and idea of my presentation. The positive agent Aedes aegypti mosquito and the symptoms, where you should always look for the typical baculopapular rash which you see in dengue disease, and there is no vaccination. So and the treatment, we should always avoid NSAIDs and aspirin and go for the detoxification therapy. So no vaccination. We should always prevent ourselves when we're going and traveling to endemic regions where you already know that there will be cases of dengue fever. You should cover yourselves with clothes covering all your arms and legs, so that you can prevent yourself from the mosquito bite, and you can also use topical mosquito repellents. Thank you all once again.